Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekend edition of the Market Recap with myself, Michael Nauss, Chartered Marketing Technician with StatsEdgeTrading.com. So every day throughout the week, I release a video, just kind of my thoughts on the markets, crypto, FX, and stocks. Then on the weekend, I sit down and I zoom out into the longer time frame, take a look at the weekly charts and say, okay, what's going on a little bit of a longer term trend? As someone who's a swing trader, I'm trying to hold things for, a couple days to a couple weeks. Sometimes it's good to kind of sit back and say, okay, what's the longer term look on some of the names that I follow, some of the industries, that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to do here today. As always, if you want my watch list, that you can just import right into Trade Ideas, you can go to StatsEdgeTrading.com. You can sign up for the email list there. Also, I'll just email these videos out to you along with screenshots of everything that you're going to see me cover today. So that just saves you a little bit of time. Make sure that if you enjoy these, you see them. Also, if you do enjoy them, like, share, comment, all that kind of stuff that the algorithms love. So without further ado, into it. And as always with Bitcoin, this weekly chart, I think really this is all you need to see, right? We're now 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row of just not only sideways do nothing action, right? We are, right where we were this 4 months ago. But if you look at the topping tails and the bottoming tails in these candles, it's just showing you that throughout the week, there's a lot of crap going on, right? So big push up, big push down, close right where it opens. Big push up, big push down, close right where it's open. This is confusion. So basically the difference, a lot of people will talk about dojis, and dojis generally will represent indecision. And I talked about one of those on one of the videos when we had a doji day in the SP 500. But when you have these long-legged dojis, it's not so much indecision, it's just confusion. The market itself hasn't really figured out what the next move is going to be, so there's just kind of a lot of battle going on. I've been saying it for a month now, pretty much every day. It's a good time just to chill out and let whatever's going to happen. You don't need to be involved. You're not going to miss. You're not going to wake up one day and Bitcoin's going to be 100,000 or zero. It's going to trend to get there, and there's just no trend to kind of be said here quite yet. And again, you'll see me look over just because I already have the screenshots taken of everything that I wanted to go over. So I just want to make sure that I'm able to go over those as well. So US dollar CAD, this support zone right here, we broke down last week. I think we were covering this and I was saying, oh, maybe this is going to be just a little bit of a bull trap, but now we're pushing back down again. So it makes me think that this zone that I have painted out here that was support is now going to act as resistance going forward. And if that happens, right, it's one of the easiest trades that are out there is you just take a prior support point like this, it breaks down, if it comes back up and that acts as resistance, then it starts to roll over. Those are my favorite trades by far. So US CAD may be pushing lower. Same kind of look here, well, same kind of pattern in Aussie yen. Big breakout of this zone right here into Aussie yen, came back, tagged it, and then put in a massive bottoming tail on the weekly candle. So I'm going to look to see if we get some continuation here on Aussie yen going into next week. So that is it for the currencies. Now let's hop in here for the individual stocks and my watch list and all of that. It's all managed by Trade Ideas here. So SPY on the weekly chart, I was talking about last week right here that we just had this kind of resting inside week, which made sense because there was a holiday week. We had one day off and then a half day, another day. So all that made perfect sense. This week just off to the races, just broke through, continued higher. There's, again, if you just look at this chart, especially this part right here, and say, I'm going to look to short this because I think this is a bear market rally or something, I don't think you're right on that one, to be honest. So again, we at some point, we're up a lot, and we're up a lot in a short period of time. At some point, there's got to be a pullback or some rest, but I'm not just going to bet that that's going to happen right here. We could continue to churn to all-time highs for all I know. A couple other ETFs of the ones that I look through, which are interesting, is that the All Country World Index XUS, so that's ACWX. This is basically, you take the US out, this is the rest of the world. And it's a great little index to say, is the entire planet starting to move, or is it just a US phenomenon? In which case, it usually means it's a tech only phenomenon. And we had a nice little breakout. So, even if you take the US out of the equation, it looks like things are looking good here for the other countries and the overall market as well. Also, junk stocks, right? ARK being our junky stocks, broke out this week. So, we had a nice little breakout here on junk stocks, and we had a volume surge when it happened as well. If you compare this volume of 100 million to the last 3 weeks of about 50 million, this little breakout we had here doubled the normal volume. So if you see these nice rounded bottoms and the breakouts that happen on twice as much normal volume, not really something that I want to personally just get in the way of. One thing that's kind of concerning when I was going through my list here is that semiconductors were up here at highs. So we broke through all-time highs. We spent, I think, a day above it, and then we sold off yesterday. So, could this mean that, hey, we got a little bit overdone, we're at resistance, maybe we take a little bit of a pullback? Maybe, right? I don't think that would mean the semiconductors have to make new lows or anything, but, a little bit of a pullback would make sense. So just an ugly day, but not really too much on the weekly chart, right? It just kind of broke out. It still closed in the top end of its week, and it's still, I think, it's still technically a weekly closing all-time high, so that's obviously a bullish thing. It's just whether or not we're going to struggle with this resistance for any meaningful amount of time. Only trade that I got into on Friday, I'm actually doing this on Saturday, was this MTLX. Let's go back to the daily charts here. All right, so the idea of this one was simply, becoming my favorite setup. You have an anchored view app before a gap, comes into the anchored view app. That's where I'm interested in it. Kind of pops up the next day. So this is where I get involved, and pulled off pretty significantly from its high, which I don't like, but still already a great gain on this one. So some things that I wanted to, just looking for what I add. Again, if you get the email, you'll get a picture and access to everything that I'm watching. You can see there's a lot here. You'll also just get these price alerts. So it says if you have traded these, you'll just load in the link, and when or if one of these crosses the level that I'm interested in, it just pings you, right? It puts up a little pop-up and says, hey, take a look at this, lights up and all that stuff, which is great. So the ones that I've added from my weekend work here was HELE. So for people who've been following this channel and this series for a length of time, know that I got involved in this one here on this breakout. This was great. I sold some into this rally, sold another chunk into this earning. So just full disclosure, I do have some of this, but the idea here is simply if it's the anchored view app from before the gap, right? That's the play that I like. So this thing comes in. If it's going to hold this and start to push higher, maybe I can get it again. We're still showing a 35% short float on this name. So anything that's this strong, that's heavily shorted, that's what I like to look at. CUK, Carnival Cruise Line. So if you take, for me, I always try to take what was the beginning of a major move is where I want to anchor my view out from. And that to me is kind of like this candle right here. It had earnings, capped down on earnings, but then it just ran since then. So we close below it. So if we push down lower, I'm going to just take this off the list. But the idea is, can we get a pullback into what was this awesome trend? Are we going to pull back, come somewhere near this anchored view app, and then start to push higher? That's what I'm watching for this one. WRBY. Very simple play here. Right? We have a strong trend. We're pulling back. Right? I am a very simple trader. Find me a trend, find me a way that I can get into a pullback in that trend so I'm not buying the highs, and I'm good to go. So it's pulled back to where it broke out here, and then put in this nice hammer candle. So if we can continue up from this one, I like to look at this one, 10% short float on this name. And then SOFI here, and SOFI is actually pretty heavily shorted at 15%, and right, just a nice kind of consolidation in this uptrend. So move from $4 to 10, so a nice double, and now it's just consolidating here. Now if you look on the weekly chart, nice looking rounded bottom that we've been putting in here for a while, and pushing up. So now that we're in this, hopefully out of this rounded bottom phase, then again, I'm looking for these pullbacks and consolidations in order to take these trades higher. Okay, so that is it from me today. And for this weekend, I will talk to you all Monday. Again, please like and share and all that kind of stuff. And go to statsedgetrading.com, sign up for the email list, and I will talk to you guys Monday.